And welcome to Chart of the Day Cafe for Thursday, December 1st, 2016. You can read our disclaimer quickly. Trading stocks is a high level of risk and viewers should complete their own due diligence on any stock or underlying that they intend to own. 100% of the content of this video and communique is intended for journalistic and educational purposes only. This video and all indicators, strategies, and articles herein should not be construed as investment. So as regular viewers well know, we always start our videos off with a look at the Russell Index. We do that because we want to make sure that before we put any new names forward for our watch list, we're putting them forward in a rising market. So we look at the Russell first. We're looking at it on a 5-year monthly time frame, and we use the IWM, which is the ETF that represents the Russell 2000, as our guide. We were paying attention to this blue channel that the Russell traded within through all of 2014, had this little lift up and out in early 15, hit our light blue shaded line, sold off, but look where we are right here, right now, right back up in that area. The candle for the month of November is now complete. It's Thursday, December 1st. We had a bullish looking candle with volume. We are up and over our shaded blue line. It broke out of our little wedge pattern that we were monitoring several weeks back and looking good. I'm going to move it away from the 5-year monthly to the 2-year weekly so we can better see how price is behaving here. Same shaded blue line. You can see the clear breakout of our wedge. We are up and over the blue line, which was resistance. It is now support, and we are in sky is blue territory. No overhead resistance. Russell's never been higher. So it'll be interesting to see how things shape up from here. I'm going to move it away from the weekly to the daily. I'm filming this at about 8:30 on Thursday morning. The futures are kind of flat, hovering around positive to negative, so it'll be an interesting day to see what the outcome is. But we've got price on the Russell up and over our blue 8-day EMA, which at Chart of the Day Cafe gives us permission to put new charts forward. Again, I want to reiterate, we do not put charts forward when the market is going down. We only want to put them forward for our watch list when the market is going higher. So with price on the Russell up and over that 8-day, we will be putting a new chart forward this morning. So again, with price on the Russell up and over that 8-day EMA on the daily chart and showing price strength, we are putting Procter Gamble forward as our featured chart for today. Before I get into the chart, let me tell you a little bit more about the company. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Procter Gamble. They're in the consumer staples sector. They were incorporated in 1905 and they are focused on providing consumer packaged good products. Their products are sold in more than 180 countries around the world, primarily through mass merchandisers, grocery stores, membership club stores, that sort of thing. You know what, Chart of the Day Cafe? It's all about value. Procter & Gamble has a really nice value score. Second thing I look for is growth. Procter & Gamble has a forecasted earnings growth rate going forward of 14%. Third thing we look for, don't always get, it's not a must, but in this case it's there, is a dividend yield. Procter & Gamble has a dividend yield of 3.25%. Really nice. For those of you that are PE people, the PE on it is 21.36. So with the fundamentals out of the way, let's take a look at the chart. We're looking at the 5-year monthly. You can see that Procter & Gamble is sitting at this area of support. It was resistance before it made a run at this area and moved up and over it in the latter part of 2014 and then sold off, but it's right at that area. Again, the volume is starting to look pretty interesting. We'll see what occurs around this area, but I think it's a really interesting area to keep an eye on for Procter & Gamble. I'm going to move it away from the 5-year monthly to the 2-year weekly so you can better see. Nice uptrend at support. We had a strong week last week. It'll be interesting to see if Procter & Gamble can lift from this area, but it would make sense to me that if the markets are moving higher, Procter & Gamble will start to move higher here. I'm going to move it away from the 2-year weekly to the 6-month daily. You can see that it's made a low here. I'm presuming if we have a strong day in the markets today and tomorrow, it may start to lift here. So I think this is an interesting area right at our orange area of support to be looking at Procter & Gamble. You definitely want lift. You know, at Chart of the Day Cafe, we use moving averages, so we want to see price moving up and over our blue 8-day EMA and showing strength. We use the 3 and the 8, so we want to see the pink line, which is the 3 EMA, move up and over the 8-day and stay that way. Whether you're looking at it on a weekly, you can use it weekly or you can use it daily as your guide. We want to see that lift. So it has not got that 3 and 8 cross yet, but should the market continue to show strength here, Procter & Gamble's at a very interesting area, and given that dividend yield, it may start to perk up. Along with Procter & Gamble, we want to look at the sector that it's in, and the sector is XLP. I'm going to move it away to my simple study. Let's go look at XLP on the 2-year weekly. You can see that it's up and over this area of prior resistance, now support, and it is showing price strength in this area. So we had this doji a couple of weeks ago, or a candle, reversal candle, followed by a strong week last week. The volume started to pick up a little bit, and here we are in this area for this week. I'll move it away from the 2-year weekly to the 6-month daily. We'll see how price behaves today, but I would expect if the markets show strength that this will start to show strength as well. Whenever we put a chart forward, we always want to put as many things in our favor for that chart as we possibly can find. And so we're on FinViz, and you can see the positive analysts' support and opinion about Procter & Gamble. This is FinViz. It's a terrific site. Highly recommend it. We also like to look at seasonality, and for that we go to Equity Clock. Terrific website as well, equityclock.com. And you can see that the seasonal chart for Procter & Gamble this time of year is positive. Wow. So this has not showed up this year for Procter & Gamble, but perhaps if the market starts to show strength, this seasonality in Procter & Gamble will start to show up here at this area of support. And the third thing is there are a lot of terrific articles about Procter & Gamble, but this is one that I'll include with today's video, dated November 30th, 3 reasons why Procter & Gamble could have a nice 2017. So again, we want to reiterate that it's sitting at this area of support on the 2-year chart. If this forecast is accurate, then it should start to lift sometime soon. Always might, we don't know for sure, but worth thinking about, and I'll include this video, or this article I should say, with today's video. Thanks very much. So in summary and review, let's go back and check our boxes for Procter & Gamble. We looked at the market. The market overall is showing strength with price on the IWM up and over the 8-day EMA. We looked at the sector that Procter & Gamble is in. XLP is the ETF we looked at. It's in an uptrend on the 5-year chart and at support on the 2-year. Procter & Gamble is in a long-term uptrend on the 5-year chart and at support on the 2-year chart and possibly lifting. It's got a good value score. It's got a good growth score with a forecasted earnings growth rate of 14%, a current dividend yield of 3.26%. We're not going to check this box because it does not have a 3 and 8 cross yet, but we're monitoring it here. It has that analyst support that we looked at, and it's got seasonality in its favor. Also the PE at 21.36. Not making any recommendations, and I do not own Procter & Gamble, but we want to keep this on our watch list as one to keep an eye on. With that, we're putting Procter & Gamble forward as our featured chart for today, Thursday, December 1st.